quick video here to describe field of energy, also maybe sexuality, maybe making it personal, talking about my sexuality, but this is just going to be a quick video with how the bees demonstrate their communication and the different behaviors or patterns in which I observe and perceive as the bees just getting familiar with the field of energy, and then how I can equate it to the human experience or us. So this is orientating. These bees are orientating. These are orientation flights. They're starting out really short distances, going right back to the hive. It gets a little longer, and a little longer, and before you know it, the bees are actually out all over all these beautiful trees and flowers. And then they come back and do an interpretive dance that which you perceive, or the other bees perceive, the other workers perceive. And then once they've been given that message, it's still up to them to go out there and find that nourishment themselves. So the hive mentality is actually not as personal, I guess, as you might think, until the bee goes out there and gets its own nourishment. Now, certain plants, like the papaya, for example, this particular papaya tree has a female flower with two male flowers on it, right next to it. So they have, very little need for multiple pollinations, right? They're literally right next to each other, making the magic happen. Look at the orientating flights on this hive, for example. So based on my experience, just personal experience, I don't know if I'm right or not, but based on my personal experience, this particular hive has found a lot of nourishment already. So they're telling a bunch of bees, hey, this is where it's at. I know this is all new to you, but here. I know this is all new to you, but here, go find it. This is how you're going to do it. So they all go out and they start doing their little dances and or their little flights to get familiar with the area and their distancing and then their locations. So now we're going to take you to something else. A swarm is about to happen. I'm pretty sure it's not from any of the hives here at this land, but there's bees about a block and a half away, or maybe about a mile away. And here we are. I have a stack of boxes here in the garage, and there's a little kipuka right here. You see that bee? Oh. Bees are coming in and out of that, and today in particular there's kind of a lot of activity.
Where do you go? She's red. I've been in the ocean. Fish. Have you been to the fish? Have you been to fish?
Keiki at play. Anyway, so with that activity, I kind of got distracted. Look at that lily koi. Look at that one. That one will be ready in probably about 2 weeks. Super excited to have that. And yes, the honeybees, maybe originally we didn't notice that they were pollinating that, but yes, they do. And then see here, this is starting to get some sunburn. Well, I don't know if I'd call that sunburn, but so I'll take the sweet potato vine and I'll just lightly cover the area so that it doesn't rush to be ripened. I just took off the keiki so it'll get fatter. All of these pineapple will get even bigger. They're not quite ready, but because we've had so much sun recently, I'm just going to keep them still getting filtered sun, but just covering them a little bit more from those rays. But yeah. So now we've talked about the field of energy and how the bees seem to be using it. But now look at these bees. These bees are doing something called washboarding. And they've been doing it for a week straight, which is, to me, longer than I've noticed those bees ever doing it before. I have been working with genetics on a different hive with something called corking or uncorking. Anyway, that's with bee sting therapy, apitherapy, which is related to, you know, healing things like rheumatoid arthritis. You may have heard that they're even using it for HIV, regenerating blood cells, all different kinds of things. But, you know, do your own research. I like for people to do their own research. The main reason for this video is just to explain the possibilities, right? And how we're now navigating in this new world. And what do I mean by new world? Well, there's many different ways we can describe this, but it's here. It happened. And, well, it's probably why things seem, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but your judgment, the way you perceive things might be rapidly changing. And how you now are going about your life. You may be doing exactly the same thing, but boy, it probably seems really different. And, well, how I relate everything to sexuality is what the bees taught me, kind of. And then working with plants. Human sexuality, I don't know how or why, but we got into this place of like real bad judgment, perversion, if you will. So of course it had to like get really loud in order for us to heal, in order for us to see ourselves, in order for us to stop being so weird about our sexuality. You know, not allowing people to have their own sexuality. And that happened because you weren't allowing yourself to have your own sexuality. Feeling either inadequate, insecure, bothered, inappropriate. You were so far from yourself that it had to manifest in everyone around you in order for you to see. So here we go back to the interpretive dance. The nourishment is always, always, always around you. You don't have to partake in it. You know, as a male, okay, or as a drone. I just love to relate to the hive, okay? As a drone, in case you didn't know, I'll give you a quick brief lesson. The drone, the male bee, congregates with other drones, waiting for the virgin queen to fly, the princess to fly. Take her one and only one mating flight. She can be mated by all of those drones, storing all of their semen. But what happens when he releases inside her? He becomes detached in an explosion and falls to his death. Well, what happens when you, man, release your energy? You black out. Did you know that? It's only for a fraction of a second. For some, though, that practice the building of the energy and still do release. But that's the gift as a human, right? Or one of the gifts as a human is you get to release and come right back. However, the more you practice the building of the energy, the more you see that the energy all around you is the building of this sacred sexual energy, well, guess what? Your judgment begins to release, fade, but also the judgment of the judgment. That's where the biggest ticket is. Like, even me making this video speaking about judgment is still me judging myself. This journey may never end, my friends. Or maybe it never began. But the thing that I really wanted to stimulate the most with this video is that, and please, if it makes you happy to use extreme, things like, oh, well, what about humans that have sex with animals, or, adults that do this. I don't even like naming them. You don't have to do that. You don't have to talk about that. Sure, if you want to, if that makes you happy, then go ahead and use the extreme examples. But those, and as common or uncommon as you may think or say they are, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about sacred sexuality. The gift, the connection. See, and even the way that I talk or present things, often people think that I'm actually like hitting on them, or they think that I'm coming on to them in a sexual manner. Like, just me talking like this will actually, I'll get tons of messages from gay men. I don't mind. I'll get messages from women that like will offer me things. What a privilege. What an honor. I'm not saying I would never engage in a full idea of human, we'll call it fornication. I'm not saying that I wouldn't. What I'm saying is that I'm very much so like a bee, where I will give my energy to one and only one. But it doesn't mean the worker bees aren't nourishing me constantly with all of their sexuality, because what is the honeybee doing? The honeybee is making love for those two trees out there that seemingly are not able to make love without the pollinator. And the result is the seed, right? The result is the propagation. So what are you worried about? And men especially, but even women too, because I'm noticing this in women as well. The idea of being, let's just say, denied, if you will, or turned down. You don't have to take it so personal. Also, people are still unfamiliar with their boundaries, right? You don't have to make fun of people that have boundaries. You don't have to call them uptight. You don't have to, pretend like you weren't flirting. Everything is sexuality. Everything. We're all flirting. Your energy will not go unnoticed. You are special, each and every single one of you. So of course, your sexuality is exuding from your pores. Your attraction is constant. Your activation is very, very constant. You have to force yourself to not be activated. But the word activated doesn't mean your penis is erupting from your pants. No. And it doesn't mean you've decided to then consciously go ahead and engage in some sort of sexual form with that person. So even though I've chosen one to give all of my energy to, doesn't mean I won't find myself activated by a worker bee. Of course. What do the workers bee do? They feed the drones all the time. The drones don't even get their own food. Multiple female bees will be feeding a drone throughout the day, sharing the nourishment, sharing the energy, the build-up, if you will. The build-up to that beautiful moment where the queen becomes complete. Doesn't mean I won't find myself even naked with a worker bee. And I won't say, once again, I won't ever say that just because I've committed to one doesn't mean I won't actually make love to another in that way. I might. I don't think I will. But then again, I don't really, what's the point of thinking? I'm very much in the moment. And like the other day, I got a beautiful massage, and my skin was all over her skin. It was such a beautiful massage. And to me, to say that that wasn't sexual, well, I find that weird, because everything is sexual to me, and it's not perverted. It's not at all. Not at all. Was there any inappropriate behavior? Did that woman even need to draw any boundaries or lines? No. Why? Because we're both secure in our sexuality. No remorse. No regrets. Just activation. Just love. Yeah, anyway. So, you can call it new paradigm. Whatever it is to you. To me, it's just devotion to the Queen. It's all sacred sexuality. Thank you. Thanks for including me. You can draw boundaries if you want to. I will not take it personal. As a man, I will not be offended if you say, hey, I don't want that with you. Okay. You probably got the wrong impression, but I won't even say that. You say whatever you want to me. It's all good. And please do not stop flirting. Please continue to flirt. Please continue to build that energy. Share it with the lover that you choose. Please don't stop.